Okie dokie, thank you.
I'm Daniel Barnett on the Ohio News Network.
Live and local conversation for the Ohio Valley continues shortly, here on the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe.
Are you or your loved ones facing a serious legal battle? The law office of Paul Harris wants you to know you aren't alone. Do you need someone that's not afraid to go to trial and fight for your rights? Attorney Paul Harris and his team are willing to go where most firms are not. The courtroom. With a successful track record in civil litigation, criminal defense, including tax issues and healthcare fraud, Harris Law Office will fight for their clients by offering the most aggressive representation in and out of court. Call Paul Harris at Harris Law Office for a free consultation. 304-232-5300.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy houses as is, fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-362-2000, 362-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, I'll buy it. I'm a private real estate investor who can solve your real estate problems fast for cash. Do you want to sell and just be done with it? Okay, great. I buy vacant properties, boarded up houses, pre-foreclosures, and inherited properties. I also buy apartment buildings, rental portfolios, divorce homes. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. I look forward to solving your real estate problems today. Give me a call for an all-cash offer at 614-362-2000, 614-362-2000.
Millions plan for retirement online. Estimate your future benefits, apply for retirement, and manage your benefits all from the comfort of your home. And give yourself the freedom to do what you want offline. Social Security's online services help put you in control with secure access to your information anytime, anywhere, allowing you to spend more time with family, friends, or simply just enjoying the day. Social Security, securing today and tomorrow. See what you can do online at socialsecurity.gov.
Introducing our new Redesign 7 News app. Our new app features a sleek, modern design, an easy-to-navigate home screen with quick access to local news content, and a localized weather forecast. Subscribing to notifications is easier, and with one tap, you have access to recent push notifications. There are more ways to watch and find video. To get the new WTRF 7 News app, just update the latest version or download the WTRF 7 News app in your Apple or Google Play Store by searching WTRF.
For all of your IT needs, visit OmniPerforms.com. Omni Strategic Technologies, the only IT company that the Watchdog trusts.
Hello, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster with a look at your local weather forecast for your Thursday. With intervals of clouds and sunshine, temperatures rise to about 85 for the daytime high, near 59 degrees for the overnight low under partly cloudy skies. A mix of clouds and sunshine for your Friday, with highs in the mid to upper 80s. Have yourself a great day, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of this station or its sponsors.
Today is Thursday.
Don't sound so excited.
Not excited? Wait a second.
I'm talking about you.
It's just Thursday. What are you excited about?
Friday is finally almost here.
Tomorrow's Friday.
Okay, I'll give that to you.
I'll give you that.
Give me that.
You realize we still have a lot of work to do.
Well, aren't we, Mr. The Glass is Half Empty?
Cheer up, guys.
So, get excited.
Okay.
I'm excited.
Okay, it's showtime.
Something to think about, something to laugh about, and something to talk about every day. This is the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe, brought to you in part by Wheeling Hospital.
Well, think about the weather because it's a gorgeous day outside. Sunshine, blue skies, clear all morning long. Going to be that way all day today. Big, bright sun coming down. A few wispy clouds floating around, just kind of making a little picturesque looking sky this morning. And the temperatures on their way to 85. But we've moved up again, a couple more degrees. We're now at 69. 69 degrees at the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport. We're at 67 degrees here at my home studios in the Elm Grove section of Wheeling, and 67 at the Robinson Auto Group Studios downtown Wheeling. In the heart of the Ohio Valley, If you have just joined us this morning, we have been all over the field today talking about the Capitol Insurrection Commission approved by the House yesterday, now heads off to the Senate. 35 Republicans, including the Wheeling area's Dave McKinley, which I have to be honest, surprised me. 35 Republicans joined the Democrats in creating that Capitol Insurrection Commission. We've been talking about that. Ohio Republican lawmakers are pushing a bill that would prevent businesses or agencies or schools or hospitals from asking about, requiring, or even requesting their employees get vaccinated. We just got done talking to Jake Zuckerman from the Ohio Capitol Journal about that. I'll have that story up on the podcast page later on today. The negative economic impact of ending the extended federal unemployment benefit, the negative impact, may be bigger than we think. We'll talk about that in a minute or two. Bank of America raises its minimum wage, and man, see what they've raised there too. And what should tipping be like in a post-pandemic world? I've got some thoughts from the Wall Street Journal on that. A vaccine clinic, drive-by clinic this weekend in North Wheeling. Reverend Cummings shared his thoughts on that with us. Now I want to talk about something that I've been getting a lot of calls and texts about. This is apparently a year for those big, red-eyed, buzzing, loud-noised insects to rise out of the ground. I remember when I was a kid, the 17-year locusts, we called them, would come up and, they were all over. I couldn't stand it. I was bad away. When my kids were little kids, my dad, God rest his soul, my dad would take a tennis racket and try and beat these things away from my kids when he was watching them. My boys kind of got fascinated by him. And now it's a year, in parts of West Virginia at least, where these things are back. What are these things? And what do we need to know about them, and should we worry about them? Brian Lovett is an entomologist and professor at WVU, and I asked him to join us to talk about it. Brian, good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good to be with you.
So let me ask the first question. Are they really locusts?
No. This is a misconception that has a long history. Essentially, when colonists arrived in the U.S. and saw them in such large numbers, it reminded them of biblical locusts. But they're actually a different kind of insect that are unrelated to locusts.
Well, they are cicadas. What are cicadas?
So cicadas are these fascinating insects which have a pretty long life cycle. So these 17-year periodical cicadas live most of their lives underground, feeding on the roots of trees, sort of minding their own business, and having this sort of quiet underground existence. And it's only a very small part of their lives that they come above ground and produce this chorus for us for a few weeks at a time. So their adulthood is quite short, and most of the time they're just sort of teeming underground.
I thought I knew all this stuff. I didn't know. So they're actually alive in that 17-year period. I thought it was like hibernation, or it was like larva stage or something. So
out of sight, out of mind, right? But they are actually alive and growing and feeding on plant roots underground. And this emergence on these periodical cicadas in particular, they coordinate and are counting the time that they're underground so that they can all emerge at once.
How do they do that? I mean, that in itself is a fascinating thing. They know when. I have to use my Apple Watch in my calendar. How do I know when? How do they know when 17 years is up?
It's a really interesting thing, and there are a lot of people that are trying to work out exactly how they're doing this, and also why they seem to emerge in prime numbers, which is another interesting aspect of their biology. But what we know is that they are paying attention to the trees that they're feeding on. So as the trees are losing their leaves, their sap is moving up and down through the tissue of the trees, and these cicadas are able to count how many times that's happening. So they really tied their timing and their life cycle to the health of the trees. And this allows them to make sure that they're emerging when times are good, and also to avoid really bad weather events that may affect the trees as well.
I mean, you study this for a living, so I guess it's not a surprise. It's staggering to me to think these big, red-eyed, buzzing nothings can actually count. They can keep track of 17 years by following the sap, essentially the sap in the trees or the tree cycle. That's
That's right.
God, they're smart. They're smarter than we think, huh?
The reason that they can do that is because this is part of an even smarter strategy where if they all emerge at once, then they can't all be eaten by birds. So this is what we call predator satiation, which is the idea that all the birds, when these cicadas are emerging, can gorge themselves on cicadas, and they can never eat all the cicadas. So this strategy of counting is them planning to all emerge at once to overwhelm their predators. So it's a really interesting bit of ecology.
Well, let's talk about that. They come in 17-year cycles, but each, I guess they're called brood. Each brood has a different cycle. So people have been asking me, for example, I know they're coming to the Eastern Panhandle, or they're in the Eastern Panhandle already this year. People are asking me, oh my God, is this the year we're going to have all those things come back here in the Wheeling area?
No. So up here in our area, we're not going to see them again until probably 2033 or 2036. So those are broods 5 and 8. But sometimes these cicadas are not so good at counting or are emerging a little bit early. So sometimes you can see them emerge even 4 years earlier. So we may see them earlier than 2030.
If there is a miscount, would a whole brood come up at a different time, or would it only be like a few little buggers come up?
Typically, if they miscount by 4 years. So if you'll see a lot of them, but not in the billions like we see with this current brood 10. But you'll see a fair amount that emerge that you'll probably hear and may notice emerging.
Now, they have big red eyes. They're a little bit ugly, I guess. The big thing people get upset about, the thing that I think frightens people, I guess, is they are really loud.
Yeah, they are. And this is part of how they mate. So they, when they're loud, are the males specifically. The males are calling to try to attract females. And the way that they do this is they have a special membrane that they can vibrate to produce that sound. And then their whole abdomen is hollow, so that can resonate and amplify the sound. So that's why they get so loud. And then when you take a single cicada that's already loud by itself and then have billions of them emerge, it can be quite loud indeed.
So they're ugly. I mean, no offense, people might say that about me, so I shouldn't call. Trying to be more kind to these days. Should be kind to the cicadas, but they really are kind of ugly. There's big red eyes, and they kind of look ugly. They're very loud and they're buzzy. But are they in any way a danger to us? Do they sting? Do they swarm at us? I mean, do people need to really be afraid of them?
No, you don't. It can be a little overwhelming because there are so many of them at once. So you might want to avoid, say, walking out into a field of them in the middle of the day when they're flying around, because that can feel overwhelming and unnatural. But they're no harm to us. They have no ability to sting or to bite us. And because of this strategy where they overwhelm predators, they really are calm and slow and sort of relaxed as far as insects go. So when we sample them in the field, we can very easily sort of pick them up, look at them, place them back down, and they sort of mind their own business. So they're about as harmless as insects come. But because they emerge in these such large numbers, and they make these really loud sounds, and they have these red eyes, they sort of demand our attention. So this is one of the exciting things about them, is because they're everywhere, it's hard not to notice them. And this can really sort of allow people to connect with cicadas and with insects generally. So you mentioned at the top of this segment that your boys were really interested in them when they saw them. And this is something which is really common. So the emergences of these cicadas are a great opportunity for people to learn about insects and to experience them in great numbers in their backyards.
Well, I mean, what should people look for if they're interested in? I mean, other than just keeping, shooing them away, what should they do?
So there are a few things. One, you can just take a photo of them and post it on. There's an app called Cicada Safari or on iNaturalist, and just let scientists know that you've seen them, because that can help us figure out their range. But if you're interested in their biology, the purpose of the ones that come above ground, the adults, is to mate. And that's why the males are immediately calling to try to attract females. And this is sort of a courtship dance where the males will make this loud sound. And if there's a female that's interested in mating, she'll flick her wings. And you can observe this behavior really readily if you sort of slow down and you watch these cicadas. The other thing that I would say you could look for is a fungus that I study. This is a fungus that infects these cicadas, and it replaces the back of their body with fungus. So if you find a cicada and its abdomen looks weird and looks like a little yellow mushroom, then that's a pathogen that infects these cicadas and has also timed its life cycle to match up with these cicadas when they emerge.
Is that what you call a zombie cicada?
That is. So they are manipulating these cicadas to encourage them to transmit the fungus. So because of that manipulation, they're zombie cicadas, and it's a really fascinating fungus to study.
How long do they last when they come above ground? How long will the buzz continue?
So they only live for a few weeks. So typically you'll see them calling and you'll hear them calling for about a month, but they'll sort of emerge a little bit earlier and then maybe some later ones too. But the sort of grand numbers of these broods will last a few weeks at a time.
Now, you mentioned earlier, and I think you actually gave me an answer to this question, but I didn't pay attention to it. I know that, excuse me. I know that it's brood 10 that's out in the
The one that has emerged right now is called brood 10. And each of these broods sort of form a patchwork across the eastern U.S. of these periodical cicadas. So depending on the area that they're emerging each year, we will give them a different name to just keep track of who's emerging, because each of them are on this 17-year cycle, but they're not all emerging on a single year. Each year you'll have periodical cicadas that are emerging in different areas of the U.S.
So when do we expect to see them in, and actually I guess Morgantown where you are might be a little bit different than the Panhandle where we are, is that right? But when do we expect to see the broods working this way?
So the ones that we can look out for in the Northeast, in sort of the tip of the Northern Panhandle, we could see brood 8 in 2036. And in Northeast West Virginia generally, and even Central West Virginia, we can see brood 5 in 2033.
Unless there is a 4-year miscalculation.
Exactly.
Now, I assume that the brood 10 that's out in the Eastern Panhandle right now is on schedule. They didn't come out early, right?
Yes, this is on schedule. We're seeing these huge numbers starting to emerge already, and this is called the Great Eastern Brood because of how many cicadas emerge during brood 10. So it's uniquely large in the number of cicadas that emerge, but also the amount of states, pretty much all across the eastern U.S. People are going to be able to see these. So because of that, it's a really impressive brood, and that's why we're seeing a lot of attention and from some people concern about these cicadas. But they're harmless to us, and in fact, you could even eat the nymphs of the cicadas, and there are people that are throwing them on menus and trying them out this year because of this opportunity of all these cicadas emerging.
Yeah, I actually have a little survey here. Someone polled 35,000 Americans. 25% said, they'd try a cicada-based, goodie.
I love it.
13% said probably not. 44% said, no way at all. And 1 out of every 50 Americans say they've already tried cicadas. So, interesting.
I love it. I will say insects are a great source of protein and vitamins, and if it helps, you could think of them as tree shrimp because they're very similar to shrimp in taste and consistency.
I've never thought that.
I don't know if it helps or hurts, but I wanted to put it out there.
I gotta think about that. Decades ago, my now late uncle used to own a small grocery store here in the local area, and it was a sort of a high-end store long before there were Krogers and stuff. And I remember when I was a little kid, I would go to his store, and he had a whole section of insects.
Wow, that's awesome.
Chocolate-covered ants, and I don't know about cicadas, but I remember going, and as a kid, I thought, well, this is kind of cool.
Yeah.
So
now
I gotta think about the tree shrimp. Hey, Beth, want some shrimp today?
Exactly. And they're everywhere.
I like shrimp. Come on, Biff. We'll go to. It's not red lobster. It'll be red cicada, and we'll have
that's
red-eyed cicada.
Yeah, there we go. I like that. I like that. We could have cicada scampi. You know, who knows? I don't know. It's kind of funny. But I guess again, actually, and it's becoming more prevalent, isn't it? More people are trying to eat insect-based foods.
Yeah. Insects are, they're much more sustainable than a lot of other sources of meat. And at the end of the day, insects are also animals. So you can really bring in insects in a lot of surprising ways into your cooking if you jump over the hurdle that our culture has with eating insects generally. There's just sort of a general fear of that in a lot of other cultures, there's not that fear, and they have some really cool insect dishes out there.
So tell me, Brian, have you tried cicada?
No. So I'm actually vegetarian, so I don't eat any animals, including insects.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That happened before I became an entomologist, so that I never had that opportunity.
All right, good. Is there anything else we should know? I appreciate your time today. I
Oh,
know
yeah.
they're not coming up here in our area, but people get really nervous. They're starting to hear a lot of stories about this, and I thought it'd be good just to spend some time with it. What else should we know? Anything else you should tell us before we let you go?
I think that the most important thing is that we're probably not going to be seeing them in our area, and we're probably not going to be seeing these periodical cicadas anytime soon here. So there's really nothing to worry about generally in our area. But when they do emerge, I'd encourage people to consider investigating them and being a little curious with them, because I do think they're a great opportunity, and they really are, as far as insects go, some of the most harmless and most easy to sort of take a look at and get to know. So I think even when they do start to emerge, it's not something to be scared of anyway.
All right, sounds good. Hey, Brian, I really appreciate your time this morning. I feel like I know more, and I'm still not going to eat them, but at least I know that I know what they're all about. So I really appreciate your time this morning.
Years. Thank you.
Yeah, very good. We'll talk then. Thanks a lot. Have a great day. Appreciate it. Brian Lovett is an entomologist professor at WVU. And I thought, Biffy, everybody's been buzzing about, everybody's been talking about the cicadas because they are coming in the Eastern Panhandle. I see a lot of my Eastern Panhandle friends, my DC area friends, are posting things on Facebook about it. So I thought, well, let's just find out. And I'm getting people asking me, oh, are they coming here? Oh my God, oh my God. And I'm getting people saying, they can't be coming here. I remember it's only been a few years ago. How are they coming here? No, they're not. Not this year. Not till, what did he say, 2036, I think he said?
Yeah, I think that was the year.
I think so. So don't panic. They're not coming here now. And I may never see another, at my age and my lifestyle, I may never see another brood coming. Maybe we should take a trip to the Eastern Panhandle this weekend and let them attack me. I don't know. Anyways, Brian's a really good guy. He's been on with us. He comes on to talk about the weirdest things, though. Brian was with us last year, Biff, talking about the murder hornets. Remember the murder hornets that we were all worried about?
Oh, yeah, that were over in the western part of the United States, and they started making their way over, and we all went in an uproar that they were going to come here, and we were going to get killed by the hornets.
That's right. The murder hornets were coming in. And then that was it. They were gone. We never heard another word about them. We're going to talk tomorrow a little bit about cicadas again with Sean Duffy from the Ohio County Library, because the Ohio County Public Library is doing a People's University, a group of classes on bugs and people. And indeed, they've got a little cicada contest going on where you can win some cicada art. What do cicadas and people have in common? And what is Bob Villamaga going to do to draw some neat artistic things about cicadas and to make some artwork about it? And what can you do about that? We'll talk about that tomorrow when Sean Duffy joins us to talk about the library's Bugs and People series of the People University. That's tomorrow here on the show. All right, it's 9:30 in the morning on the Watchdog Morning Show. Biff, the Bank of America has announced a raise in their minimum wage. And it is staggering what they're able to pay and what they are going to make their minimum wage. And they say the people they do business with, they expect them to pay the same minimum wage. I'll tell you what that's all about coming up in a minute or two here on the Watchdog Morning Show. Let's grab some headlines first from Metro News. And Billy's got some sports for us as well. We are the Watchdog Morning Show on a Thursday.
The Metro News Update is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
West Virginia.
Am I going to have to do another break or not, Biffy? What do you think? Let me know so I can plan myself here. You sure? Okay. If you want me to, I can, but I'll have to rearrange things a little bit if I have to. Okay. All right. All right. Just checking. He was pretty good, I thought. Love it. He's a little, he had some fun with it, which was good. Excuse me. If my internet went down, can you check the temperature for me, please? Okay, that's what I want. That's what I had the last time. I don't know what happened. I was doing fine, then suddenly I can't get internet.
Show is back on Saturday and Sunday, June 19th and 20th from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Washington County Fairgrounds. Admission is $7, and kids under 12 get in free with an adult. Everyone is welcome. They offer free appraisals and have great prices on all types of firearms, modern, military, and antique. They have over 450 tables with cash buyers on site for your used guns. Visit arhsportshop.com, or you could give them a call at 724-948-3571 for more information. That's 724-948-3571 for more information. It's the Washington County Gun Show, presented by ARH Sports Shop, June 19th and 20th.
Plumbers and Steam Fitters Local 83 want to thank the owners and contractors of the Ohio Valley for using their locally trained workers to help build for the future. Local 83 helps design, fabricate, and build the gas infrastructure for the oil and gas industry here in the Ohio Valley. Plumbers and Steam Fitters Local 83 is 300 members strong and growing. They also do residential, commercial, and industrial work on both sides of the river. For more information, call Plumbers and Steam Fitters Local 83 at 304-233-4445.
Now, during the Jim Robinson Ford Lincoln Toyota Pre-Owned Super Sale, select from over 80 vehicles in stock starting under $5,000. Most are local trades, many with one owner. Hurry to Jim Robinson at the Highlands, home of lifetime powertrain protection. Now, during the Jim Robinson Ford Lincoln Toyota Pre-Owned Super Sale, select from over 80 vehicles in stock starting under $5,000. Most are local trades, many with one owner. Hurry to Jim Robinson at the Highlands, home of lifetime powertrain protection.
Clarington. The Watchdog is protecting your yard. Join Howard Monroe, Hoppy Kercheval, Bill DeFabio, and Big Rick for the best live and local talk in the Upper Ohio Valley and beyond. Clarington trusts the Watchdog.
Miss a part of the show? Want to hear a segment again? Check out our podcast page at watchdognetwork.com. The Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe continues.
If you are watching us on Facebook Live today or any day, don't forget to like us and share us. If you hit the like button, I like that. And if then you would hit the share button and share us to your news feed or your timeline or whatever, any news groups you might be in that you think would be valuable to listen to us or watch us, I'd appreciate it. Thank you for watching the video feed on my Facebook page or on the Watchdogs Facebook page. When you're watching, you get to see, you look at me, the camera looks at me, and you get to see the stuff behind me, the pictures on the wall, and my Action Comics over here. I always forget how to point the fingers. The Action Comics over here. There they are, up there. Anyways, and the dancing ladies on the wall and so on and so forth. Several people said, well, what's it look like? What's the studio actually look like? Well, it's like a desk with the microphones on it. But I did put a picture on my Facebook page of my viewpoint of the home studio. So you can take a look at that if you go to my Facebook page. Just because I had people say, well, what does it look like from your perspective? And it's amazing how simple and easy these things are anymore. Back in the day, way back when I first started this business, it carried truckloads of equipment with you and wire and everything else. Now, just plug into my phone, put a couple of microphones out, and there it goes. Somebody did ask me why I have two microphones on my desk when I showed the picture. One of them, that one right there, is directly connected to the radio station. The other microphone is what I use for a direct connection to Hoppy Kercheval and Statewide Talk Line when I'm with Hoppy or when I'm on with some other talk shows around the country. So that's why there are two microphones. A little behind-the-scenes info for you in case you're curious. Biffy, what golf's coming up this weekend? Have you got any golf coming up this weekend? A big tournament or anything?
Yes, we do, and it actually starts today. It is the PGA Championship.
The PGA Championship. Well, golf fans, if you'd like to bet on the PGA Championship, you can do it on FanDuel. They're letting new users place the first bet risk-free up to $1,000. Is this a big one, Biffy? I mean, you've got who's in it? What's it going to look like?
This is a big one. This is the second of the four majors. And you've got the champions from the two this year, and I think the PGA champion from last year. They're actually going to be paired together in the opening round today. So that'll be fun to watch if you can take some time and see that, or put it on your phone, or do whatever. But yeah, this is the second of the 4 majors.
Well, as I said, if you'd like to place a bet, you can do that. And right now, you can place your first bet on FanDuel on golf, or anything else, but on golf particularly right now, risk-free, up to $1,000. You get up to $1,000 back in site credit if you don't win on your first bet. So remember, FanDuel, first of all, has all different kind of sports. I want to say 17, I think is the number, 17, 18, something like that. But basically, everything from mixed martial arts to golf to football and basketball and baseball and so on. So they got it all up there for you on FanDuel. Always great promotions available. It's real easy to use. I talk about that a lot. It's safe. It's secure. You get your money as little as 24 hours. The payouts are pretty fast. But most of all, again, you can bet on almost anything during the golf tournaments. For example, you want to bet on who's going to win this weekend's tournament? Bet on the outright winner. You want to bet on who's going to make or miss the cut? Do that. You want to do head-to-head matchups? You said there's a good head-to-head matchup today, Biffy?
Yes, the champion from last year, and I think the Masters champion, and I think there's one other one. They are paired today in the opening round. And by the way, you mentioned one of the bets that they have, whether or not someone will make or miss the cut. You can't go wrong with Phil Mickelson. So I'm not going to tell you how to play Phil Mickelson, but if you want to do a bet on whether or not someone will make or miss the cut, go with Phil Mickelson.
I got you. And you can also bet on head-to-head matchups, like I said. All kinds of different ways you can bet. All sorts of prop bets available for golf. I tend to not think of golf as part of the betting world, Biffy, but there's good betting you can do. Enhance your fun by going to FanDuel and adding it. Now, if you're not on FanDuel already, download the FanDuel Sportsbook app, sign up using my name, Monroe, M-O-N-R-O-E, in the promo code box. That way they know that we sent you here on the Watchdog Morning Show. Download FanDuel. Monroe is your promo code. Now, as always, I have to tell you must be 21 or older, physically present in West Virginia. The first online real money wager only. The refund is issued as non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 14 days, so you must place your second bet within 14 days. There are some restrictions. See the terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. As always, have fun with this. If you can have fun with gaming, great, and most people can. But if you have a gambling problem, don't download FanDuel. Instead, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit 1-800-GAMBLER.net. It's not a pretty picture, and I've seen people who have gambled literally their life away, Biffy. You don't want to see that. So have fun with FanDuel. But if you can't have fun, 1-800-GAMBLER. FanDuel Sportsbook, more ways to win. 9:44, 16 till the hour here on the Watchdog Morning Show. So this week, Biff, Bank of America announced it's going to raise its minimum hourly wage for all of its employees over the next couple of years. In the next 4 years, do you know what the minimum wage will be for a worker at the Bank of America?
I'm going to guess $20.
Higher, $25 an hour by 2025. $25 an hour by 2025. They raised their minimum wage to $20 this past year for Bank of America.
You think they did that so it would be easy to remember, 25 and 25?
Hey, I like that. That's good thinking. There's a smart marketing person there. or a smart leader going, I don't know, I've got some dunderheads working for me. How will they know what the minimum wage is? Well, I know. We'll make the minimum wage the same as the year. Actually, because that's true this year, too. They raised the minimum wage to $20 in 2020. You might be onto something, Biffy.
I mean, you never know.
Now, obviously, Bank of America is A, wildly profitable company. B, we're not talking about, please don't anybody take this the wrong way. We're not talking about flipping burgers or saying, you want fries with that. We're talking about, tend to be skilled workers. So that's why it's not $10 an hour. It's $20 an hour now, up to $25 by 2025. They're also going to require all of their U.S. vendors pay their employees at that rate. In other words, if you are a dedicated vendor providing services or goods to Bank of America, they expect you to pay at least $15 an hour for their vendors. Now, again, they can afford it. Bank of America posted a first quarter profit of, you ready for this, Biffy? First quarter profit, $8.1 billion.
Jeez. Yeah, they're in good shape.
They can afford to pay their people. They can afford to pay their people, right?
Yeah.
So they raised the minimum wage to $17 an hour 2019, $20 an hour in 2020, $25 an hour by 2025. So a full-time employee making their minimum wage, working a full-time week, would be at $52,000 per year. It is nearly 3 times higher than the federal minimum wage of $7.25 an hour. Now, I'm not, because somebody's going to be complaining, well, what's the CEO make? Or why they shouldn't be making $8 billion. Okay, I don't want to get into whether banks make too much money or all that kind of stuff. I'm just saying, at least here's a company that when it's doing well, it's paying their employees. And I mean, you got to say that's pretty good, right? $25. Now, it's not an entry-level job, obviously. I don't think. And I like the fact that they're insisting they're vendors. They're vendors. If you're going to do business with Bank of America, they say, no, we want you to pay your employees at least $15 an hour too, which I think is a pretty good deal. We all got stimulus checks. Some people got the extended unemployment money and so on. And we've had cash in our pockets, let's be honest about it, for a lot of people, which they haven't had before. Now, what have we done with that? Well, for one thing, apparently we've gone to Walmart. Walmart's first quarter projections this year, way past, their first quarter earnings, way past their projections. Sales at stores of Walmart across the country opened at for the first quarter, a 6% increase from the first quarter last year. So it is growing significantly. Walmart's seeing the sales boom as Americans spend their stimulus checks. And I think as the pandemic eases, Biff, more and more people are getting back out and buying things, I've been to Walmart for the first time recently. I've been there for a year. My wife has gone with the masks and stuff, but I've been a car sitter. I don't want to go in there. I don't want to go in there with all those people. But now more people are doing it. Online sales at Walmart, 37% increase this year. And as a result of that, shares of Walmart stock rose fairly significantly as well. Now, I know some of you hate it when I even say the phrase Walmart. Some of you think it's an anti-American company and so on. And I think Walmart's really made an effort to change its image and to change its approach. Maybe not totally, maybe not completely, maybe it's not a perfect company. But I do think they've made a real effort to make some improvements. Let's see, what else did I have here in Money Matters I wanted to share with you? I think I'm going to save that for tomorrow. There's a good piece over at wvmetronews.com. I'm just going to touch on it right now. I want you to read it if you'd like to. Because, the Governor Justice, along with, I think it's a total of 20 across the country, have eliminated the unemployment, and we know our friend Bob was not happy about this, have eliminated the extended unemployment benefits. And that's going to put a lot of people in financial problems. By eliminating those benefits, gig workers and self-employed people will go down to zero for unemployment. They get no unemployment at all, which is not a good thing. And Metro News has a really good piece. It's a fairly in-depth piece by our buddy Brad McElhenney on what some of this means economically. The idea is, well, this way people will go back and get their restaurant jobs, and they'll fill the restaurant jobs up. But Metro News, in their piece, takes a look at what the economic impact, and it's going to be a negative economic impact, they think, of the unemployment benefits being stopped, because people won't have as much money in their pockets. And therefore, they're not going to be buying as much, not going to be spending as much. This idea that all those lazy bums will now go out and get a job, first of all, it's premised on a bad premise. And secondly, if they do, it'll probably be lower than what they're making, which means they'll have less money to spend. So I'm not going to go through the whole thing here today, but I encourage you to read it. Lots of comments from both elected officials and economists. The piece is over at wvmetronews.com. As the pandemic eases, The unemployment picture isn't so simple yet. And more people in this article and elsewhere are saying that this concept that the governors, including Governor Justice, are buying into, people aren't going back to work because they're getting too much money from the government, isn't really the issue. We talked with Sean O'Leary from the Center on Budget and Policy earlier this week. We talked to John Deskins from WVU's Bureau of Business and Economic Research last week. Brian Lego, another one with the WVU Economic Business Research Bureau, quoted in the Metro News story, saying that people trying to draw firm conclusions at this point in time are just overplaying their hand. The facts are not out there to prove that that people are staying home because of the unemployment benefits. And we're going to be seeing a decrease in the economic stimulus that came from that money. So, good piece. I just want to encourage you to read it over at wvmetronews.com. I'm going to hold off on this. There's a neat piece in the Wall Street Journal on tipping after post-COVID. Tipping post-COVID. After means post. After post-COVID will be stupid. Tipping post-COVID. We'll talk about that maybe a little bit tomorrow. 8 before the hour here on the Watchdog Morning Show, 69 degrees at the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport and here at the Robinson Auto Group Studios. Have we heard from our buddy Bob Westfall yet?
Still waiting on Bob.
We are awaiting Mr. Westfall. He shall join us, I'm sure, momentarily. In the meantime, let me do a couple of quick public service announcements reminding you about a couple of things here. Number one, as we talked with Reverend Cummings this week, there is a drive-through vaccination clinic coming up Saturday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the North Wheeling Dream Center. It's 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Drive up, drive in that back alley, drive through, no residency requirements. 12 and older are eligible for the vaccine. Obviously, if you're under 18, you have to have a guardian that can sign and say you can get the vaccine. There is no charge, of course, for the vaccines. That's true everywhere. So that's today. It's Saturday, 11 to 1 at the North Wheeling Dream Center. Also, next Thursday, we talked about this last week too. Next Thursday, it is the Scramble for Scouting to help the Boy Scouts, which will be held on the Palmer course at Ogilvy Park next Thursday. And you start with lunch, then the shotgun start, then dinner and prizes. If you want to get a team together, a team of 4 costs $400 for playing the course, for the dinner, for the lunch, and for helping out the scouts. More information, you can call, you can check the website, orvc-bsa.org. That's ORVC, Ohio River Valley Council, orvc-bsa.org. Or you can call their office at 304-277-2660. So those are a couple of things I wanted to get out there while we had some time. Tomorrow on the show, we're going to talk a little bit more about cicadas, and we're also going to be talking about the VA hospital story. Rita Mays was sentenced last week. The woman who admits that she killed many of those veterans at the VA hospital in Clarksburg was sentenced to multiple terms of life in prison. But the story isn't over. There are lots and lots of questions being raised about how she was able to do that for so long. And did they do adequate background checks on her? And did they have proper safety precautions in place? Brad McElhenney has been working that story for a while, and we're going to talk with him tomorrow a little bit about that, see what questions are being asked, what kinds of investigations are being run. Senator Manchin, Senator Capito, Congressman McKinley have all shown great concern about that. I think all three of those met with folks from the VA administrator, in fact, this week. So we'll get into that a little bit tomorrow as well, here on the Watchdog Morning Show. And so I guess we're not going to hear from Bob probably, huh?
It is looking that way.
Looking like a new Bob Westfall check-in today. Well, we'll tell you that we'll have all the news for you from WTRF-TV. I can't tell you what it is, but I can tell you we'll have it for you coming up today at noon as always, every day at noon. If you're out and about driving around and you're, wanting to know what the midday news is and you can't get to a TV, just turn on the radio because we've got it for you live from the news desk of WTRF TV right at noon. And we'll get all the Ohio Valley headlines for you. And then Bill DeFabio and the Variety Show. And I know who's he got on today, Biffy?
Yeah, he's got two guests on today. He has John Wayner in the first hour and Steve Blass in the second hour. And Steve is going to talk about Rennie Stennett, who died at 72, had a battle with cancer. And he was part of that team that the Pirates put together that had all 9 African Americans on the roster. So he was part of that as well. So that's Bill's show for today. And I think he's going to have Ryan from the West Bank Arena Capitol Theater in as well. So a pretty good show for Bill today.
Busy day today on the Bill DeFabio Variety Show. Right after the 12 o'clock news from Channel 7 up until 2 o'clock. And, of course, as always, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, it's Big Talk from Big Rick. I don't get a chance to listen to Big Rick as often as I should. He doesn't post his guest schedule and stuff online, so I don't often know what he's got coming up. But he must be doing something right, because some of the same people who text and complain about me, well, you're nothing but a progressive liberal, Monroe, they're texting and complaining about Big Rick. So I figure he's got to be doing something right. If the same people are complaining about us, he must be doing something right. I said there's a guy who always says, why do you always talk about minorities and racial stuff and so on? Just stop talking about that. You keep that up, Rick. Makes me happy that you're here. Big Rick, Big Talk with Big Rick this afternoon at 2. Hoppy is on vacation today and through the rest of this week, so Dave Wilson is filling in coming up next. But for me, I got to say sayonara, see you, bye-bye, farewell. I got to go. I got to get out of here. Kirchhoff would have the calm if he was here. Dave Wilson's on board next with Statewide Talk Line. And as for me, as always, good Lord willing, creeks don't rise. Bat phone doesn't ring. Don't get impeached. Don't retire. Ticker keeps on ticking. And most importantly, Teddy says, it's okay. You can go back to work tomorrow, Granddad. I'll come back and give it one more try for the week, Biffy. I'll be here tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock. Are you back with me?
I will be back to close out the week.
We'll just keep on doing it until we get it right.
That could be a long time.
Oh, indeed.
The Watchdog is FM 98.1, AM 1600 WKKX Wheeling, FM 97.7, AM 1370 WVLY Moundsville.
The ABC News is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
From ABC News.
Whew. Well, that was a tap dance. Yeah, man, good thing I had a couple of bigger stories here, but I couldn't take time for them because I didn't know if Bob was calling. So I think I had a couple things to get in there with, so that's good. All right, everything, you feeling okay? Okay, good. Glad to hear that. Well, it's as long as you. And if you do get sick, I don't think you'll get sick. If for people who get sick, I'd rather be sick for a day than sick forever with COVID. Just go about your business. Yep, that's good. All right, I know I ask you every day, you making any progress on that house? Get your insurance taken care of yet, or? You did? And then you will be a vaccinated homeowner. You'll be joining the world of the homeowners. My youngest son, Jonathan, is perpetually complaining about things he has to do around the house. I said, son, welcome to the joys of being a homeowner. You know, there's always something you got to do. Always something. All right. I'll be around today. Nothing special to do. Our new FM antenna is in, but Joe twisted his arm or something, so he only has one arm to work with, so Joe can't do anything. I joke, I call him Lefty because his right arm is out of commission, so. He said, well, the antenna's in. I said, well, can you install it? He goes, not with one arm, I can't. Okay, well, I guess that, got to figure something out about that. All right, well, if you need me, I'm around. Give me a call. Otherwise, go home, rest your arm, and I'll talk to you in the morning. All right, I've got, like you hear me say, I got Sean Duffy, just a little PSA kind of thing at 8 o'clock. No, I think it's 8:40. It just tied in with cicadas, so I asked if you want to come in and talk about that. And then hopefully McCabe and whatever else pops up. Oh, I'm going to try to get Brad too, so we'll see. All right, if you need me, give me a call. I'll be around. Otherwise, thanks for your help. I appreciate it. Talk to you later. Bye.
9300 800-786-9300.
The number of pedestrians killed in car crashes across the country rose last year despite the pandemic, cutting the number of cars on the road. The Governor's Highway Safety Association says deaths were up 21% to over 6,700. It blames reckless driving and speed during the pandemic. A new look at how much or how little police departments in America's biggest cities are mirroring the people that they serve. ABC Chief Justice correspondent Pierre Thomas.
In 99 of the country's biggest metro areas, the share of police officers that are white is larger than the percentage of white people in those communities. That's according to our detailed analysis of census data. And in 6 of those American cities and the surrounding metro areas, including Pittsburgh, Knoxville, and Spokane, the census data showed that 9 out of every 10 police officers were white.
Some departments report trouble recruiting candidates of color, and activists tell ABC News adding diversity to a police force may not be enough without other reforms also being put in place. A trial of former French President Nicolas Sarkozy